Welcome to another episode of The 3 Show. I'm your host, Brandon Hofstra. We've made it to the division finals around the NA3HL. We'll take a full look at the matchups of each division and fill you in on how each team made it to this point. Let's get right into it. Central Division, the number 1 seeded Wausau Cyclones will take on the number 2 seeded West Bend Power. Wausau beat the Wisconsin Woodsmen in a 2-0 sweep to get to the division final, while West Bend went at it against the Oregon Tradesmen in a series that went to 3 games. Game 1 will take place tonight in Wausau. In the East Division, the number 1 seeded Northeast Generals will take on number 2, the Norwich Sea Captains. The Generals swept the New Hampshire Junior Mountain Kings and only allowed 3 goals over 2 games. The Norwich Sea Captains went to the wire against the New Jersey Titans in their series, where in Game 3, Norwich took the win to move on 5-2. Yesterday, the Sea Captains and Generals met up for Game 1, where Northeast took a 5-2 win and a series lead 1-0. In the Frontier Division, we'll see the Helena Bighorns take on the Gillette Wild. Helena took care of business in round 1 against the Great Falls Americans, as the Gillette Wild won 2 games against the Bozeman Ice Dogs. The Bighorns and Wild met up Wednesday night, where Helena took Game 1 in a 5-1 final. The South Division will see the number 1 seeded New Mexico Ice Wolves against the number 3 Louisiana Drillers. The Ice Wolves swept the Texas Brahmas to get to the South Division final, and what can be called an upset with the Drillers sweeping the El Paso Rhinos on the road. Last night was the first meetup as it went into overtime, where the Drillers picked up the series lead in a 5-4 overtime final. And in the West Division, the number 1 seeded Granite City Lumberjacks will take on the number 2 seeded Rochester Grizzlies. The reigning Fraser Cup champion Lumberjacks had their backs against the wall in round 1 in a must-win against Mason City. Granite City took care of business, winning back-to-back after falling in their first game. The Grizzlies posted 11 goals over 2 games to sweep the Alexandria Blizzard on their way to the West Division final. Game 1 will be tonight at Granite City. All of the Fraser Cup playoff action can be seen exclusively on NAHL TV, your home for the NA3HL, and be sure to stay up to date with our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube page as well. We'll see you next week at the Fraser Cup Championship in St. Louis. Until then, I'm Brandon Hofstra. Thanks for watching The 3 Show.